Welcome into another episode of Ravens Reports. It's your guy Noah here with For the Flock, as always bringing you guys our top 5 news reports and storylines coming out of our Baltimore Ravens. Today, some big updates on Derrick Henry, who, as we know, is putting in some work in the offseason, getting ready for another massive 2025 season, plus some contract talks with him. We also got Calais Campbell, who could be joining with the Baltimore Ravens very soon. A really exciting report on that. Another big veteran free agent that the Ravens just signed, plus some top takeaways from the interview that John Harbaugh had and much more, man. So I just want to tell you guys, I missed y'all, man. You already know. It's so good to be back on here with you guys. My For the Flock family that has been checking in on me, man. If you guys know, I got off active duty in the Marine Corps a few months ago. Now I'm in the reserves, and I had my 2 weeks of drill where I was out in the field for 2 weeks, so I couldn't produce any videos, man, but we're back. And really excited to just be back on here with you guys, the For the Flock family. I also want to give a special shout out to the patrons who support, month in and month out, and they have access to the Discord, and we talk all the time. So if you want to be a contributor just for like a cup of coffee a month, you can help out the channel, help support what we're building here. This is what I do for a full-time living now, so any support is much appreciated, man. But let's go ahead and get you all your Ravens news and content. At number 1, exciting report about Calais Campbell mulling between the option of going to the Miami Dolphins, where he was with last year, or the Baltimore Ravens. Now, keep in mind a couple things here. First of all, Michael Pierce retired, so there's a void there on the defensive front. We need some more depth, some more bodies in there, because the primary guys are Matabike and Travis Jones. We also got Broderick Washington and Brent Urban, but we need some more depth. Now, if you're thinking, man, isn't Calais Campbell like 40 years old? Almost. He's 39 years old. But dude is still playing at a high level. So high level, in fact, that he was actually the 7th overall graded defensive tackle according to PFF last season in the entire NFL. And there's a lot of defensive tackles in the NFL last year. He had 5 sacks last year, which was wasn't that the same as Matabike? 6.5 sacks the year before in Atlanta. Like I said, the 7th highest graded interior defender last season. He's also been super durable, playing in 17 games the past 2 seasons, and never appearing in less than 12 games throughout his entire 17-year career. The other thing here is the Baltimore Ravens tried to trade for Calais Campbell at the trade deadline. Before that trade was nixed, it was talked out of by the head coach, Mike McDaniel, who was saying, hey, we might still have a chance at the playoffs. Don't trade this guy away. Now it's reported he's just, weighing his options between the Ravens and the Dolphins. Maybe another team, but those are the 2 teams that were mentioned according to this report from Barry Jackson, who's a reporter in Miami. Also said that retirement's a possibility, but he's still playing at a high level. He still wants to win a Super Bowl championship, and his chances with the Baltimore Ravens would be much higher than with the Dolphins or most other teams in the NFL, because the Ravens, man, AFC Championship 2 years ago, AFC Divisional Round, just one Mark Andrews drop away or a fumble, whatever, a couple mistakes away from another AFC Championship appearance. The Ravens are knocking at the door, and eventually if you keep knocking, man, that door will be opened. So Calais Campbell could be joining the Baltimore Ravens. I would be a huge proponent of that, not only because he's still playing at a high level, 5 sacks last year, 7th overall defensive tackle according to PFF, but also his leadership, his energy is amazing. Imagine having the veteran leadership of Calais Campbell, Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry, Marlon Humphrey, and some of these guys. And then the coaching staff we have now with, Chuck Pagano and the safety coach from Kansas City who was under Steve Spagnuolo, and, Zach Orr in his 2nd year, Todd Monken, man, the coaching staff and the veteran leadership on this team would be absolutely loaded if we could bring in Calais Campbell. At number 2, another vet that we just signed is Chidobe Awuzie. I'm a big fan of this signing because we needed more corners in the room. Arthur Millette was released. So here's the secondary now, all right? It's Chidobe, Marlon Humphrey, who, by the way, last year, he was the 5th out of 222 players, qualifying cornerbacks and coverage. I mean, he had a heck of a year last year. So Awuzie, Marlon, Nate Wiggins. Then we got some options, okay? So if Chidobe doesn't start, he's definitely a depth. He's an experienced guy. Remember, he was coming off an injury in 2023, so he's about a year and a half removed from that injury now. Should be fully back. He's 29 years old, and he's always been a very scrappy, good player when healthy. He was really good with the Bengals before he signed that free agency deal with the Titans. The Titans released him. I think he had 2 picks last year and a bunch of tackles. So he was competitive. He was out there. I think he was still recovering, but a nice vet signing here. Nate Wiggins, TJ Tampa, and then Jalen Armour-Davis. So TJ Tampa is a guy that we can get excited about. I mean, really talented guy out of college. He fell a little bit in the draft because he had a slower 40 time. And then he had some flashes in practice and training camp, but then started to deal with some injuries. So same thing with Jalen Armour-Davis. Every time he's out there, every time Jalen Armour-Davis is out there, man, he plays at a high level as well, but he's always banged up. So with Tampa and Jalen Armour-Davis, it's all about health. But those guys are in the mix. And then we know Nate Wiggins, how he was ascending last year, what he can do, how sticky he is in coverage, how competitive he is. We know Marlon Humphrey. Now we got Awuzie added into the mix at like a veteran minimum type of deal. At worst, you get, a below average vet that can come in and keep your secondary afloat. Definitely a lot of experience, knows coverage. Best case scenario, you get a guy that gets back to his prime and, gets back to his health after being a year and a half, 2 years removed from that injury, who is a great scheme fit and is a high-level starter next to Marlon Humphrey. That's like best case scenario. So it's a low-risk, high-reward signing. This is what the Ravens are known for, bringing in guys that don't cost a lot of money, but they have a lot of production. We saw it with Demarcus Robinson with that clutch playoff touchdown against the Bengals a few years ago. You've seen it with Kyle Van Noy, who was signed off the couch on a veteran minimum type of deal in the middle of the year and then has 11 sacks. The year after that has 12 and a half sacks. So, same thing with Ronald Darby. He was a guy coming off injury, kind of teams overlooked him, but then he got healthy, had a great year as a starter whenever some guys went down with injury. This could be the same case with Chidobe Awuzie. So I like this move. At number 3, my guy Derrick Henry. We know he's known for this. This is why he has been going this strong for this long in his career. It's unheard of that running backs over 30 put up 1,900 yards and, 18 touchdowns and have Pro Bowl, All-Pro type of seasons like this into the 30s. But Derrick Henry's a different breed. He's just big, strong, fast. He's durable. He's been going at it for a long time. And this is why, he's putting in these type of workouts, getting ready for that next season, man. I'm telling you, if we can get Derrick Henry back to, where he was last year as far as his performance, and then, Lamar Jackson in the prime of his career, you're not going to get many more seasons of that. You know what I'm saying? Derrick Henry is fighting time. But, the way he's winning that fight due to the way he takes care of his body and this type of work that he puts in. But what I'm saying is, the championship window with Lamar and Derrick Henry in the same offensive backfield with year 3 of Todd Monken, the defense, year 2 of the coordinator getting better, the secondary that the Ravens are building, man, the window's wide open for the Ravens to get it done. It has been the last 3 years. They fell short. But another year with Derrick Henry and Todd Monken. Then you got Rashad Bateman, who had 800 yards and 10 touchdowns last year and starting to ascend and be healthy. Zay Flowers, the tight ends. This team is going to be very, very dangerous. This team is so dangerous, in fact, that whenever the win projections at number 4, when the win totals were released by ESPN Bet, the Ravens were tied with the highest amount of wins at 11.5, according to projections, okay? The other teams at 11.5 were the Eagles, who just won the Super Bowl, the Chiefs, who were in the Super Bowl, and the Bills, who were just in the AFC Championship, who the Ravens, quite frankly, should have beat in the AFC Divisional. Beat them in the regular season, fell short in the playoffs. We know what happened. Drops, fumbles, turnovers, stuff like that. Despite outgaining them 450 yards to 200, just fell short. However, in the last 4 seasons when Lamar Jackson has started at least 15 games, the Ravens have averaged 12.5 wins. That's crazy. Every year whenever I do my preseason win and loss estimates and projections, everyone gets on me when I'm like, hey, Ravens are going to win like 12, 13 games minimum. But this is stats. This is facts that whenever Lamar plays, the Ravens win. They average 12.5 wins when he plays 15 games in a year. That's absolutely absurd, man. Lamar Jackson is a winner. That will translate into the playoffs. I really do believe that. I saw his confidence. I'm telling you, man, his confidence, the way he was slinging the ball against the Steelers in the first round, and then against the Bills where they were down. I mean, that drive that he put on, a minute and a half left in the cold in Buffalo, fans roaring, a minute and a half left. Rashad Bateman and Zay Flowers, his top two receivers, are out. They're down. And he mounted a 90-yard touchdown drive through a strike. His composure was not that of a quarterback that can't win in the playoffs. There was something in him that switched, and he had the confidence in the playoffs. And ultimately, it came down to that Mark Andrews fumbled in the middle of the field, which could have allowed us to score and then run out the clock with Derrick Henry. And then, the Mark Andrews drop, the 2-point conversion. Obviously, we know that was killer. But then also that one botched snap that we had, and then Lamar Jackson slipped on the ball. It was a fumble. Man, those type of little moments can be the big difference in these type of games. But Lamar looked like he was ready for the task in the playoffs. I think it's a matter of time before he breaks through. I really do. So we got Derrick Henry putting in the work. And it's also reported from John Harbaugh that the Ravens are looking at extending his contract as well. So at number 5, here's a couple of takeaways from John Harbaugh's presser yesterday. He said he feels so good about this roster, man. We'd be ready to play today. And I believe that. Like, look at the guys that they're having coming back. Last year in offseason, they lost like Jadeveon Clowney. They lost Patrick Queen, Geno Stone, Kevin Zeitler, a bunch of key starters on the team. This year, they lost like some depth guys, like Malik Harrison, backup linebacker, Chris Board, backup linebacker. They lost the starting cornerback in Brandon Stevens, but we know that he struggled at times with the Ravens, so it wasn't a big loss as far as this year versus last year. The Ravens didn't lose a lot of guys, all right? But they added DeAndre Hopkins, a big-time clutch, third down, contested catch playmaker who's going to make some plays for the Ravens this year. They added Chidobe Awuzie, a nice veteran corner. They were able to bring back Ronnie Stanley. So my point is this year I feel like the Ravens roster can really focus on improving versus just, trying to replace guys that you're losing. I think the offensive line will be in a much better starting place. Right tackle's taken care of, left tackle's taken care of, center's taken care of. Roger Rosengarten going into his second year. Right guard got stabilized with Falele towards the end of the year. I know a lot of Ravens fans don't like that situation, but at least got continuity. 4 of the 5 starters are returning. Left guard is a question mark between Ben Cleveland and Andrew Voorhees, but they could also add guys in the draft. They have 11 draft picks to improve this roster, and I really think they're going to do so. I think they're going to get some hits, strike some gold with those 11 swings that they're going to have. But John Harbaugh says he likes the roster, ready to play today. I agree with him. The roster is looking really good. Trenton Simpson is projected to be the first and second down starting linebacker. He was benched in the middle of the year, had some coverage issues and stuff, but really young player, really raw, has a whole nother offseason to, John Harbaugh says he's in the building. He's studying, he's focusing, he's working, and he's also doing film study on his own. So keep your eye out for Simpson to have a strong year next to Roquan. He said he wants to add more competition to those guard spots, and he also said that Lamar Jackson, when he gets paid, will be the highest paid player in the league ever. So I'm excited for the draft just right around the corner, guys. We'll have some more mock drafts coming for you guys and continue to talk about other free agent options that we'll have, and then we'll have OTAs and then training camp before you know it, man. Make sure you got your subscribe and notification bell on so we can keep you up to date on all of your Baltimore Ravens news. I love you guys. I appreciate y'all, and we'll see you in the next video.
Ray, when he wasn't looking, he ran me over.